If it wasn't for Muir Maxwell, thousands of children with epilepsy would face a much more daunting life than they already do. And many families would be more troubled or even torn apart by this devastating illness. Families like the Holmes from Edinburgh, whose son Ben has struggled against huge odds to have a life worth living. And Lynn Reid, who now has a greater understanding of what's happened to her son Harry and what the future for her and her family may hold. This year is the 10th anniversary of the Muir Maxwell Trust, a decade in which it's made astonishing advances into the causes and treatment of severe childhood epilepsy.
If you'd asked me 10 years ago if I thought we would still be here in 10 years, I think the answer is no. If you'd asked me, do you think you'll raise £7 million? I think the answer would have been no. And if you'd asked me, do you think you'll become the most significant children's charity raising funds for paediatric epilepsy in the UK? Definitely not. But we are. We're all of these things.
Muir, what does the goldfish say?
Muir Maxwell is the reason the Trust began, and his life has been its inspiration.
Everything that the Trust has done in terms of its work has been focused on the experience of raising Muir. So effectively, in the course of the last 10 years, we've addressed all the areas of need that we've encountered in the course of raising Muir.
Muir is now 16 years old, the age from which he could get married, but that's something he'll never experience. Although his body has matured, his mind remains that of a young child, damaged by Dravet syndrome. For him, a cuddle with mum, family photos and playing with his favourite animal Jigsaw are forever his pleasures.
So did you have a good day at school today? What were you doing, Muir? Did you go swimming? You were in the water?
Life is much the same for Jane and Ben Holmes. The Trust first helped Jane when Ben was 6. A bed alarm, one of many thousands supplied by the Trust, was a life-changing aid for them. Ben is now 11, and the intervening years have seen him grow physically too, but he also remains trapped in the emotions of a much younger child.
I think he has a great desire to communicate, and he tries to do so in his own way, but still his speech hasn't developed at all, and in certain respects actually his development has regressed. So for him it's frustrating, and for us too, because as well as wanting to communicate with him, I also want to let him know that we hear what he's saying sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to do that.
Muir and Ben will move steadily from childhood to adulthood, cared for by their families, along with the education and care support available to them. But when child protection is gone, what then? Anne Maxwell sees a huge void in independent living that needs to be filled.
I'm hoping Muir will remain in child services for another 2 or 3 years, but it's a transition phase and children don't cope with change quickly, so we have to work towards change, and we have to make sure that there are proper facilities there, long-term care homes for them, a home for them that they can live in as we would all want to live, and they can thrive and be happy and fulfilled in every aspect of their life.
In tandem with fundraising for first-class care to facilitate independent living for young adults, the Trust is exploring other ways of improving the quality of life for children and families facing complex epilepsy.
Thank you for all your, and for all those who supported Muir Maxwell and allowing this to happen too.
This work takes place at the Muir Maxwell Epilepsy Centre, a new partnership with the University College of Edinburgh led by Dr. Richard Chin. It was recently officially opened by the Princess Royal at the Queen's Research Institute in Edinburgh. Research there into identifying causes, cures and effective drug treatment continues apace. But the impact of epilepsy on learning and living is also being researched as a priority in order to better meet the needs of affected children and their families. Lynn Reid knew her son Harry had Dravet syndrome within months of his birth, thanks to gene identification. It meant he received the right drug therapy from a young age. He's now 3 and thriving, and about to start mainstream nursery with his friend Riley. And while Harry continues to show good progress, Mum Lynn also has a reassurance about her family's future.
Because it's myself that carries Harry's mutation, we have to have testings done for certainly future pregnancies, and to give us a reasonable choice in what we do. Having 2 children with Dravet, I think would be very difficult, and to know that we've already got 1 child that we could possibly lose is very difficult. So I think having any more than 1 child having that same threat would be devastating.
So, from cradle to adulthood, the Muir Maxwell Trust continues to help children with profound needs in every way. But as Muir celebrates his 16th birthday and the Trust enters its 2nd decade, a focus for the future centres on a fight for quality of life for those in transition.
They are at the mercy of adult services, and it doesn't matter what this government tells us or tells anyone about adult services and the care that is available, the care and support that is available for young adults with lifelong profound learning difficulties. They do not get the support that they need. They are, sadly, many of them parked and forgotten about. And that's a very serious issue. It's a very serious issue, and it's a very deep concern for me in relation to Muir and also other children following behind.
You have the chance to support the Trust's work and provide a more certain future for children like Muir, just as Anne and her family have supported him throughout the years.
I still know in my heart of hearts we've done the very best for him, and I can see for myself that he is at this point in time very much thriving, very happy and content. My challenge is to make sure that as long as I'm here and able to, that I continue to do the same for him going forward.